Hello and welcome to the weekly Asylum and Immigration Reform Recap, where I share with you 5 recent stories of interest for asylum seekers and those wanting to stay up to date on immigration news. This week, we're discussing plainclothes federal agents begin making arrests at San Francisco Immigration Court. Venezuelan high school student gets detained by ICE at New York Immigration Courthouse. Florida Attorney General faces potential contempt charges for defying immigration court order. Supreme Court approves Trump administration's pause of humanitarian immigration program. Congress seeks to fund Trump's aggressive immigration crackdown with massive spending bill. I'm Brian Manning, and I used to be an asylum officer with the government, but now, as an asylum lawyer, I help immigrants all over the country to secure their future in America through asylum. All right, let's get to the news. First up, undercover federal agents have begun a new and controversial strategy in San Francisco, arresting at least 4 immigrants at the city's immigration courthouse. This approach is novel and represents a significant shift in immigration control tactics. Immigration lawyers have witnessed federal agents arresting people right after their hearings. The Department of Homeland Security claims this is necessary to enforce immigration laws and deport those who entered illegally. Immigrant advocates strongly oppose this tactic. They argue it aims to instill fear, hinders fair trials, and terrorizes immigrant communities. These arrests are part of a broader plan by the Trump administration to speed up deportations and generate fear among immigrants. Lawyers point out that this is very different from previous methods, and that it could deter immigrants from attending their hearings or seeking the crucial help they need. And up next for update number 2. A 20-year-old Venezuelan student was shockingly arrested by Immigration and Customs Enforcement at an immigration courthouse in New York City, reflecting a significant increase in deportation tactics under the Trump administration. Dylan, who legally entered the United States through an asylum program during the Biden administration, was arrested after a routine court hearing, highlighting the increasingly aggressive approach to enforcing immigration laws. New York City Mayor Eric Adams distanced himself from the incident, stating that it was a federal matter beyond his control. The young man, who works part-time as a delivery driver and attends Ellis Preparatory Academy, was enrolled in a public school for immigrant students. Immigration lawyers argue that the detention harms communities and removes people who are working, studying, and complying with all immigration procedures, while government officials claim they are simply enforcing immigration laws. All right, it's time for our third immigration update. A federal judge is thinking about whether to say that the Florida Attorney General is in contempt, which means like he didn't obey, because maybe he didn't follow a court order that stopped a state law that says it's a crime to enter Florida without permission. Federal Judge Kathleen Williams, who is a district judge, had already given an order to stop that law for a while, saying it was very likely that law was unconstitutional. The Attorney General, James Othmeyer, sent a letter to the police and other groups that make sure laws are followed, kind of telling them they could keep using that law. And because of that, some groups that help immigrants filed a legal complaint. This case shows us there's still a problem between what the state wants to do to control who comes in and what federal judges say can or can't be done. The lawyers who represent the immigrants say that what Othmeyer did was on purpose to ignore the judge's order and that he encouraged arresting people when the judge had already said they couldn't, and because of that, maybe he will get a fine or some kind of punishment. By the way, if you want to stay updated on asylum and immigration reform news, then be sure to press the subscribe button and the bell icon so that you don't miss the next video. Okay, moving on, we're ready for update number 4. The Supreme Court has provisionally authorized the Trump administration to interrupt a humanitarian program that provided temporary residency to over 500,000 immigrants from countries facing political instability. The brief order supports the administration's initiative to revoke protections for migrants from Cuba, Nicaragua, Venezuela, and Haiti, potentially exposing them to deportation. 2 dissenting justices voiced strong opposition, arguing the decision could critically impact nearly 500,000 non-citizens' lives. The ruling aligns with previous decisions allowing the removal of deportation protections for Venezuelan immigrants under temporary protected status. Initially launched by the Biden administration in 2022 and 2023, the Humanitarian Parole Program was crafted to offer a legal pathway for immigrants from specific countries to enter the United States and obtain work authorization. Republican lawmakers had consistently challenged the program, arguing it expanded migration beyond existing immigration limits. And finally, our 5th immigration update for this week. A sweeping bill from House Republicans proposes an extraordinary $150 billion for immigration enforcement
aiming to fulfill President Trump's campaign pledges on mass deportations and strengthening border security. The measure allocates funds for 10,000 additional immigration officers and $46.5 billion to construct a border wall, even as border crossings remain relatively low. It also introduces significant new costs for immigrants, such as a $1,000 fee to apply for asylum and extra charges for work permits. Some Republican Party senators, including Rand Paul, have expressed concerns about the hefty spending, especially the wall funding. The bill is projected to raise the federal deficit by $3.8 trillion over 10 years, and would impose a 5% tax on remittances sent by non-citizens.
And that concludes this week's immigration news. If you want to win asylum in the United States, then you should call my office today. We help people all over the country, so it doesn't matter where you are. Call us now to schedule an asylum strategy session so that we can assist you in securing your future in America through asylum. Again, I'm Brian Manning, and it's an honor to serve you in your immigration journey.